Jin'rokh is the first encounter in the Throne of Thunder. The fight revolves around water void zones that the boss will place down throughout the fight. So let's just get going with his abilities. The first ability the boss uses is Thundering Throw. This is used 30 seconds after the fight starts and on the boss's current target, then every 1.5 minutes after that. This ability will chuck the target back at one of the statues in the area. I believe it's actually the closest statue to the target, so you want to try and make the room fill up in a circle-like fashion. So have the boss tanked going around in a circle, if that makes sense. Just be close enough to the pillar adjacent to the one that you were previously at. Breaking the statue resets the threat on the boss's target, and this deals a decent amount of damage to the targeted player, but nothing too ridiculous. But the player also sends out an AoE when they hit the ground, dealing decent damage and stunning within 14 yards. Then a conductive water void zone will appear at the location. Only 4 of these conductive water void zones will appear throughout the fight. Each one will take up a quarter of the room and periodically grow larger until it's covering a quarter of the room. Anyone who stands in the water will gain fluidity. This increases damage done and healing received by 40%, but also increases nature damage taken by 80%. Essentially, you're going to want to tank the boss facing away from the void zones while having everyone else stand in the water, taking advantage of the buff while it lasts. The next ability is Focused Lightning. This is used every 15 seconds and creates an orb of lightning which fixates on a player and begins moving towards said player. While alive, the orb deals nature damage to everyone every half a second within 5 yards. This orb will explode, dealing high damage to the target if it reaches the target. The target also needs to kite the orb to a designated portion of the room. This is so that it can explode safely. This will ideally be done near one of the walls of the room. If the player is standing in the water, then everyone in the water will also take damage. Once the orb blows up, it actually creates a lightning fissure. This deals nature damage every second to raiders within 5 yards. If the fissure is touched by water, then everyone in the water will take damage. If focused lightning hits a lightning fissure, then implosion will happen. This will blow up, dealing a lot of damage to the raid and increasing damage taken from the following implosions by 10%. So the water void zones can be compromised, which will be explained shortly. If the focused lightning explodes inside a compromised void zone, then everyone within 8 yards will be killed. Static burst will regularly be used, which causes the raid to take decent damage and also apply 10 stacks of the static wound to the tank. This debuff will cause a tank to take nature damage per stack whenever they are hit by the boss. A third of this damage is also going to hit the rest of the raid, so this ability will require a tank switch. The next ability is Lightning Storm, and this is casted every 90 seconds. This is what will compromise the water void zones. This will turn the water into electrified waters, where the water will damage all players inside and will remove the fluidity buff. So you won't actually get the benefits from the buff anymore, but you'll actually get the increased damage still. While casting Lightning Storm, the boss will deal damage to the raid. When this is being casted, everyone should stack up in the center of the area out of the water and pop cooldowns to survive. So to sum it up, tanks, remember to switch when hit with static wound. Also remember that being hit by Thundering Throw will reset the affected player's threat, so the other tank will need to taunt immediately. Healers, players will be taking damage from Lightning Storm when it is being cast. Players who blow up the orbs chasing them will also be taking good damage, so be ready for those players to be doing this. DPS just need to keep smacking the boss. Everyone needs to remember to stand in the water while nothing is going on. This of course doesn't include the tanks. Stand near the edge so you can quickly move out of the void zone if you are targeted by an ability, and remember to kite the orb chasing you to the designated zone before blowing it up. Also avoid kiting the orbs into the lightning fissures. Lush should be popped shortly after the first water zone goes down. This is actually one of the coolest fights I think in terms of mechanics. The way the water actually acts as a conductor is really fucking awesome.
That's all you need to know to break into the Throne of Thunder.
Good luck, adventurer.